Yeah, the reason that I created this task here is because for so many people, and this was for me itself, we become blinded by the chaos that is going on all around us. Now, as we transition through life from, being a young 20-something, then going into like relationships and jobs and marriages and mortgages and all sorts of responsibilities and pressures that we have and we build, we then get lost somewhere along the way. Lost in translation is often a statement that I made. And that's that translation of being a single guy to being a married guy to then either getting divorced or trying to have a relationship to being a father. And it's like this huge transition that goes right throughout a long period of time. And for so long, we end up becoming blinded to it. And we convince ourselves with their own bullshit. Now, I could challenge anybody in here in terms of why aren't you showing up? Why aren't you being the best version of yourself? Why aren't you doing your health and your responsibilities? And you could come up with a ton of bullshit excuses that, might justify your guilt and might justify your reasons why you haven't. But the truth is, our ego, your ego, blocks the truth and facing the truth. Now, for some of you, doing that and seeing some of the words that were coming up, it's been a bit of a shocker. When you look at it and you put your scores and it's there bang in front of you, it's almost like the mirror. It's almost looking at the mirror, looking at yourself and saying, I'm not right. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not the guy that I want to be. I'm not the dad I want to be. I'm not in the career I want to be. Like, fuck, how long have I been in that bubble? And for me, self-awareness is the key to unlock for change. And if we are unable to be honest with ourselves more than anyone else on this planet, if we are unable to be honest with ourselves and tell it as it is, ourselves in front of the mirror, and if you can't do that, you will never fucking change. You will never move forwards because you are not dealing with what the root cause of the problem is and accepting, actually, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not at the place I want to be. I'm not living the life that I want. I'm not having those thoughts or positive thoughts. I'm just having negative thoughts. I feel like I've got this burden on my back and it weighs 200 kilograms and it's stopping me from achieving and showing up. But we don't accept that and we don't face that. When I wrote the book, and I don't have a copy of the book, when I wrote the book, one of the first things that I wanted to establish early in the book was recognition of where you are. Now, if you think about any organization, like a school or a business, a lot of those schools and businesses will be marked on what their score is, what they're performing, how they're performing. And they would do that. Oh, let me just say goodnight. I love you. Oh, my lovely girl. I love you.
Daddy?
Yeah?
Why haven't I read this one for?
Because it's super hot. Daddy's got to work. Run up to mummy. I love you. I'll see you in the morning. Sorry. So, where was I? Bringing it. Organisations, and the way that they judge how that organisation is performing is by doing an audit, right? So they come in with the audit, and then suddenly go, this is what you're doing well, this is what you're doing well, this is what you can improve on, this is where you're at. Here's where you're at right now. And suddenly when we do that for ourselves and we go, that's where you're at. The first thing to do is not slump into this self-pity victim mentality. Woe is fucking me, my scores are 2, 3 or 4. The thing is to do is, it's a really positive experience. Even if your scores are 1, 2, 3 or 4, it does not matter. What you have just done has been honest with yourself. You have just put all your cards on the table and said, this is where I'm at. Now what? Where do we go from here? And that's one of the things that I wanted to do at the first stage of this book, because it tells you where you are. Now, many people would have done it like that. You would have read the task or watched the task and you would have gone, right, I'm going to answer my questions right now. And you didn't put any thought process into it. The ideal way to do this is to watch that video, mull on it all day, think about it, monitor it, pose it, and then put in the question around 6 o'clock, put in your answers 6 o'clock tonight. Because what you've done is thought about it. And men, react impulsively. So how you feel in that second without thinking about it is what you're going to put. And that is a reflection of maybe the things you're doing around life right now. Something happens, you impulsively act on it without thinking, without having any sense of control, without any clarity of actually, where am I? What have I been doing? Because I guarantee if I asked you to do that tomorrow, or if I asked you to do that Friday, or if I asked you to sleep on it and then cut all of the bullshit, would it be worse? Would it be better? Would it be the same? If you took the emotion out of it and thought about it logically and actually what really is the score based on all of the actions. And I know there's all the fucking COVID bollocks, but it's still a reflection of how you are performing. Now, the 4 pillars, these are the fundamentals to build on for me, and they have worked brilliantly for hundreds and in fact thousands of men that have come through this process, because it gives you balance. This is not just about you and losing your belly. This is not just about you and losing your confidence. This is about building relationships with people that matter, being there for the people that matter, finding a career you can be proud of and build, not being stuck in this rut, in this hamster wheel of doom that you keep running around in, right? And I think it's really, really important that you understand that the health is mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Relationships is the relationship you have with yourself first, and then the people you love and value most around you second, which will come on more on that on Wednesday. Personal development of how you are trying to grow as a human being. You're here, okay? The people that are watching are engaging this process. You are trying to personally develop yourself. You're trying to put your hand out and say, I need help. I need some guidance. I need some mentoring. I need to develop. How can I do that? And it's really important then to understand about your business and your career. Don't be stuck in a career jail. Like, what do you want to do? What could you do to be more proactive? And doing this life audit raises all of these questions. It raises all of these answers. And when you get those scores, what do you do with them? The thing is that it tells you where you are so that you can make a plan. You can't move forwards till you know where you are. So then start asking questions like, okay, why is my score low? What has happened for me to neglect my health? Why am I neglecting my health? Why am I stuck in a job that I don't want to be in? Why is my relationship as not as strong as it could be? Is it me? Is it my ego? Am I not showing enough vulnerability? Am I a bit mopey? Do I let everything get to me? Am I low on confidence and self-esteem or self-belief? It's all right to be all of those things as a guy. You know, having vulnerability is emotionally strong for a guy to be vulnerable. It's really important to be vulnerable because it makes you feel alive and human and everything else that comes with that. So in a nutshell, self-awareness is the first step, and it's why we do this on this day one. I want you to realize where you are, and I want you to face yourself in that mirror and be honest with yourself and say, fuck, do you know what? I'm putting it all out there. I'm going to show vulnerability. I'm going to show where I am. This is it. This is where I'm at, and now I'm going to build. So it's almost like digging down. So you think about building a skyscraper. If you built a skyscraper without foundations, it would fucking fall over and it would topple over. You have to dig down before we build up. And digging down is getting to the bottom of why you are where you are, understanding where you are and what we've got to do to start then building on top of those foundations, all right? And some of those things we will talk about this week, all right? Wednesday's a very powerful day. The rest of them are powerful, but like I think suddenly it really clicks on Wednesday. So I'm going to go through all of these questions that I've got here. I'm going to answer them as best as I can. And then if we get time, I'll ask you guys, if you're watching, if there's any questions you want me to answer, okay? Okay, so Antonio, my question is about personal development. I'm 39. I'm sometimes with bad memory to remember what you don't like to hear. How do you change all life habits? I'm good with my girlfriend and thinking in living together, but I want to be mega for her with 2 kids. So listen, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of things that I teach on my 28-day program and with my mastermind clients who have been with me so many years. And there's a couple of things here. When you move forwards, you cannot change everything all at once. You cannot change everything all at once, and you won't change everything all at once because you will become overwhelmed. You are not conditioned to deal with the chaos of life and building yourself. Expectations become here. Your level of conditioning is here. There's this huge deficit. And in this deficit, when we don't meet our expectations, comes self-pity, victim mentality, low self-esteem, low self-belief, and the fuck it. And the fuck it is, I'm just too busy. Fuck it, I don't have time. Fuck it, it doesn't work. And we just throw it out to the side. So we have to match our expectations with our level of conditioning. And the way we do that is by moving ourselves 1% every single day. And when you just move the needle forwards by 1% a day, over a year, that's 365%. So I'll give you an example. If you did 20 minutes of a workout 3 times a week, over a year, you are going to see a couple of huge, big changes along the way. There is no doubt about it. And instead of going to the gym, trying to do 2-hour sessions 4 or 5 times a week, when you don't have that time, or you're not conditioned to manage your time, or you don't have the right mindset, you burn out after a week or 2. You lose that momentum. Whereas we just chip away at it with the small wins, tiny wins. We start changing what's going on up here, emotionally and physically. We start to see improvements. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days gone, bang, you've been on it. And that's how we move forwards. 110%, okay? So when it comes to your personal development, moving forwards at 1%. Now we move forwards at 1% by remembering the mission. Now some of you who follow me might have heard me talking about this a lot. A mission is your destination, is the thing that you are trying to achieve. Now it's too much of an in-depth subject to go through on this challenge, but it's something that we teach, and it's creating a 10-year vision. And you might be like, fuck, 10 years, what the hell? Or it could be a 5-year vision, or it could be a 3-year vision, or a 1-year vision, but it's something that you're working to. Men lack direction. Men lack identity because they lack direction. And the no identity and the no direction creates no flame, no desire, no passion, no drive. And we end up losing that momentum. And that's why we end up in this world of chaos, because it's like standing in the middle of a desert with no map, with no direction of where to go, of no way out, no instructions. Whereas if I put you in the middle of a desert with a map and it had milestones and checkpoints and an X that marks the spot about the direction you want to go, being your mission, you can then work towards that first milestone. Then that takes you to the second, then the third, and it's moving you in that right direction. And as you move through that process, you learn more about yourself. You gain more resilience. You gain more clarity. You gain more consistency. And then you start changing and building, and your level of showing up improves each time. Cool. I hope that answers your question, Antonio. Okay, James, do you continue regularly using the life audit yourself, or do you use it in periods where you feel you are struggling? Good question. How often you use the audit? So, great question. So there are different thought processes here. The first thing is to understand where you are in your journey. So if you're brand new in a journey, I think it's worth doing this maybe once every 2 weeks. What I get my guys to do in the mastermind is do it once a month. Okay, so when we do our monthly review, which is what we call checkpoints, they will end up doing it then. I think it really comes down to personal preference as well. Like some people like to do it weekly. Some people like to do it fortnightly. Some people like to do it quarterly. So it really comes down to how you view it. But I think the more you connect with it in the early doors, the more foundations and an in-depth process of following it through really helps. The more you do it, the more you're thinking about it. The less you do it in the early stages, the less emotional connection you have with it. And that's the difference, right, between showing up. It's not motivation. Motivation is like shit. Motivation is the same as being happy, being angry, being jealous. It's an emotion. And those emotions that come along come and go. Happiness comes and goes. Love comes and goes. Anger, it comes and it disappears. Motivation, it comes and it disappears. And it's not a substantial emotion to keep you showing up. You might be motivated listening to this. You might go and listen to a video on YouTube and be motivated. So you might be like, fuck, I'm going to change my life. That motivation then disperses and you are left with nothing. There has to be emotional connection. And that's why the mission has to be something that connects you emotionally. So if you tell me it's the kids that you want to be better for and you want to be a better father, that emotional connection should be the thing that gets you up every day. Should be the reason that you show up 1% every single day. Without emotional connection, you're dead in the sea. You're like a ship with no sail and no bearing. Whereas if you've got that emotional connection to show up and make it happen, no matter what it takes, no matter what anything comes your way, no matter how many punches to the faces you get, distractions, curveballs, you're still willing to show up no matter what. And that's what it takes. And that's what we're trying to build internally, the mental resilience to be able to show the fuck up when it needs to happen, rather than carrying and becoming this victim or wallowing in your own self-pity because you didn't do it or you didn't follow through. No, bad day, we get up the next day, we go again. We go again, we go again until it becomes second nature. It's very much like a force field around you. And the more shit that comes in the early days, some of it gets in, but as you build, it becomes stronger and you're able to deal with the chaos. You're able to deal with the curveballs and everything that's coming your way. I hope that helps. Will having chest complaint hold me back with the 5-day challenge at all? I'm preparing to give it a go mentally. Just physically, I need to build myself up slowly. So Ian, just to confirm, this isn't a fitness and nutrition 5 days. This is really about mental resilience. Tomorrow is a little bit about fitness, but just go for a walk. If you're fit enough and the doctor said it's all right for you to do a walk, just go and do a walk. Without really knowing the ins and outs of what your chest pain is and what the doctor said, I think really it's just about being sensible. I'm in a relationship, I'm really happy, but there is one thorn in my side. My partner has to work with an ex, and it really makes me feel insecure. God, yeah. How do you combat this feeling of insecurity and anxiety every time she has to work with him? So I mean, that's a tough one, and I can really relate to it, not because it's happened, but I can imagine being there. I am naturally quite an insecure guy, or I used to be. But when it comes to my missus, I am super insecure. That is just because I was a dickhead when I was in the military. So I sometimes know how easy it can be to fall into that. But over the years, I've just come to learn to trust the people that you love the most. And if anything was to happen, or for whatever reason, something did and it didn't work out in that relationship, then that's really a godsend for you. And that's how I some way in my head used to deal with that, is that, do you know what? If I used to build up this picture and pattern in my head that I wasn't good enough for my missus, so I just imagined that I would end up losing her to someone else. And I was like, well, if that happens, that's a godsend for me because it saves me getting hurt down the line. But I think when you trust somebody and if she hasn't given you any reason not to trust you, you should trust the process. You should have confidence in what she's doing. And I can understand, but just realize that you are good enough because she's with you and not him. And there's a reason that he's the ex. Always have that positive, confident presence about yourself. And just keep fucking reminding her that why she's with you. 100% all of the time. How do you manage family time when you get up early? Question, I suppose, when do you go to sleep to start your early day? So I go to bed at 9 at night, Monday to Friday. Trying to get up early to do exercise before work and work on my new business, a time management situation. I have 2 kids, 7. So a lot of the time, I'm going to talk a lot more about this on Thursday, but I leave all of my stuff that I change into downstairs. So when my alarm goes, I get up and I come straight downstairs. I get up at 4:15 Monday to Friday. My missus is quite heavily pregnant now. We're due a baby in like 4 or 5 weeks. So she's in weight most of the time now, but pre-pregnancy, she had almost conditioned to not wake up. So when I first started getting up, it was a bit chaotic, or not chaotic, but just a bit disruptive. She then got used to it, got used to that process, and then slowly just never waked up. And I just used to come downstairs, get changed, go out and do my thing down the seafront and get changed. So I think, Pete, really it's about communication, understanding as well. So explaining to the wife mainly about why you need to get up and why you want to do it. You want to improve yourself. You want to prime yourself for the day. You want to be active mentally, emotionally, and physically for the day, right? And I think that's what, getting that communication across. I'm trying to improve myself. It really can take the edge off the sword. Think it's a great thing that you're doing here, JB. This is my second time on a 5-day. I'm convinced I can help in your team, offering it to a volunteer in your team if ever you want some help. Don't want pain, recognised champion. Thank you, Christine, very much. It's very kind of you. We're really, in terms of working for us, and very quickly, we're very strict in terms about the guys that come in. The guys have to have been in the process for a year, and that's really to understand everything that we're going through. It's not really something that we can just teach people who follow us. You have to really have been through the system and gone through the system and haven't been a part of it. But I really honestly appreciate you reaching out, Christian. I lost my partner, a lot to do with self-confidence and anxieties about myself. I was 15 stone. Now I'm down to 11, 12. I had cancer years ago. And my medication wasn't correct. But now it is. I have a new job as last place of work I was stuck in during lockdown. I needed to regain my self-belief and confidence and hopefully win her heart back again one day. Good man. So Lee, fantastic story of you coming back, fighting back, which is absolutely brilliant to hear. The one thing I would say here, Lee, is make sure that you are the priority here. Okay? Make sure that you are the person that you are focusing on. Not doing this just to win somebody back, doing this to improve you. Because for example, and I'm going to just be real here, if she didn't go back with you, what are you going to fucking do? Crash and burn? You should be doing this for you first, trying to impress other people second, i.e. a girl. You are the priority, not her, you. You are the priority. And you should be looking at improving you as a human being, as a man, the way that you feel in your confidence within yourself and the internal dialogue that you're having with yourself. That is what's key. Okay, having done the audit, I can see that my scores are better than in November. How is the best way to stop the self-sabotage and negative mindset creeping back in? Number one is to recognize it. I really feel that if you recognize you're doing stuff to, if you like, satisfy the victim mentality, which is what I really feel self-sabotage is. I feel that if we end up going into that self-pity or victim mentality, we definitely indulge it. We definitely feed it. And that's what people do. And I think you just have to ask yourself, why would you put yourself through something like that? You know, and I used to ask myself, why did I drink myself fucking stupid when I was going through my tough spell, you know, after leaving the military? And a lot of the time it was to forget. It was to forget everything that I had lost in terms of my career and family and everything that was going on. Instead of facing the truth. Instead of facing facts that actually I wasn't showing up and performing in life for the people that needed me most. So I self-sabotaged because it was my way. Self-sabotage is burying your head in the sand and destructing yourself at the same time. It doesn't really make sense. But again, being a man, the ego, the emotions, they run wild. So they end up powering your head into the ground and you go, right, let's fucking drink ourselves to death. Let's do fucking loads of drugs. Let's go on a bender. Let's get in fights. Let's be negative. Let's fuck everyone over. And, you know, let's do everything but face the fact that we're not where we want to be and put our cards on the table. You know, it's going to be hard to take for some people that, you know, and that's where it all comes from. For me, that, you know, based on experience of having worked with a lot of people. Some preach motivation, others self-discipline. What's your definition and preferred driver? So I've already spoken about this, that emotional connection is absolutely key. Emotional connection is to whatever you're doing, to whatever your mission is, to emotional connection, to showing up has to be key. Without the emotion of showing up, you're simply never going to show. You're never going to follow through. If you're relying on motivation and self-discipline, you won't do it. There has to be that emotional condition at the start, and self-discipline builds with that, with the process. As you learn, as you grow, so does the emotional connection, and so does the self-discipline. Motivation is not sustainable. Okay. Reflecting further on PD score, I consume interesting articles and videos, but whether I proactively put the learning into practice, goals and milestones are more important so I can assess progress. How to choose how many goals, tasks not to become overwhelmed. So how many goals to choose, how many tasks, goals not to choose, not to become overwhelmed. So that is a perfect example of recognizing yourself, your limitations. So if you look at whatever somebody else is doing, if you look at maybe the fact that you are wanting to build yourself and grow yourself and get much better in life and the way that you control life and the way that you manage life, and you suddenly start reading loads of articles and you're reading loads of, or listening to loads of podcasts, watching loads of YouTube videos, and it's consuming you, and you're trying to take on all of this information, it's going to suddenly hit you with overwhelm. And remember what I talked about, the 1%? If you can show up and you can just watch one video a day and you can think about that video and you can embrace that video and you break it down and you take the most valuable points of that video and then you implement it for a week and you did that twice a month at the very start of your journey, it would make such a massive difference. I think that people really feel they need to do lots of, in terms of volume. I've got to listen to 100 fucking podcasts. And then all of a sudden you're consumed with information. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. So you've got to be able to manage what you're consuming. And you have to recognize what level you're at in terms of your development. How to maintain discipline over the long haul. Find the mission, emotionally connect to it, and keep coming back to remember the mission. Keep coming back to the reason you're showing up. Okay, discipline isn't just gained. It's earned. And it's earned through showing up through a process. It's earned when you get to that point where you see the alarm go off and you decide to press snooze or like get up. So snooze or get up. The people that press snooze do not have a strong enough emotional connection to get up and show up. So they end up burying their head in the sand. They make bullshit excuses. And the people that do get up have the discipline to say, the reason I want to get up is worth more than staying in bed for 10 minutes. And then suddenly when you start asking yourself those questions, you're like, oh my God, get up. Remember why you're getting up. You then start to build in here, condition, discipline. It's like building your biceps or your chest. Okay, you start just with the bar, then you start adding weight, and then you start building up strength within that muscle. Same with this muscle, discipline muscle, focus muscle. The more you use it, the more you grow. Okay, and that's what's really, really, really important to understand. It is a muscle, and if you don't use it, you will never build the discipline. You can't, and you won't get it just like that. You won't get it just like that, okay? It's got to be built over time. You don't just build muscle overnight. You don't just lose fat overnight. You don't just become in a good relationship overnight. You condition yourself to do all of those things. How do you resist? Stop feeling like you are failing at life as a husband and father. Feeling like you... number one is ask yourself why you feel that you're failing and who are you comparing yourself against. There is no guideline to say that you are failing as a father. And do you mind, Jay? Oh, no, don't worry. I think it's really, really important to understand that you are your biggest critic. So however you look at yourself as a father, you are probably 10xing how bad the situation is. We are just learning here. Like sometimes I think, oh my God, I'm an awful father for doing this or an awful father for doing that. We're just learning as being a father. We don't always get it right. We don't always get anything in life right. That's what makes us stronger, right? If we feel like we're failing, we take what we feel as failure. I don't think it as failure. I think of it as experience. We take the experience, we embrace the experience, we learn from it and we grow. So we Learn, grow, repeat. Learn, grow, repeat. Where it goes wrong for a lot of people is that they go experience, failure, something didn't go right, dwell, self-pity, victim mentality, self-sabotage, and then you fucking don't do anything about it. Life is full of failure. Life is full of gaining experience. Every single one of us watching here, including myself, has gone through experience of where we've made bad decisions, wrong choices, where we haven't shown up, where we should have done something different, where we should have handled a situation differently. That's how we learn. That's how we learn, grow and repeat that process over and over and over again. So don't beat yourself up, okay? Don't be hard on yourself. It's a process. Okay, what happens when you've worked really hard on yourself and people that you people that you have some love for can't say anything but negatives? They cut you out because you disagree. I'm in a position to help, but won't accept, and I'm saying I've written it off, but I worry about their well-being without me checking on them. Sometimes I think you just have to let people go. Sometimes you just have to let people go. If you try and make a difference, like, let's give you an example. 350 people signed up for this 5-day challenge, okay? There's 10% of people that are here watching, 35%. I can't help people that don't want to help themselves. I can't help people that don't want to listen to what the truth is and the reality of the situation. I can't help people that don't show up. And I used to chase all of those people to do my best to help those guys. And I don't have the energy, because what we do is we try to force or try to help people and they're not ready. And then suddenly we're drained and we're left with nothing to be a family man or to be a coach or to be a mentor. The way that I see it is that I do my thing. I have my message. I have my way of thinking. I have my methods. And people will either want to listen, want to act, or they won't. And they fucking continue living their life in misery, or they keep chasing their own tail, or maybe one day in 5 or 10 years when they realise that they've wasted 5 or 10 years, will then go, oh my God, I've wasted 5 and 10 years. And if you think I'm joking, I've let nearly 1,000 guys say that to me. Like, I wasted 5 years of my life. I should have done this 5 years ago. But you cannot fucking help people that don't want to be helped. It is a drainer. All right. Right, guys, I've answered all these questions here. So listen, if you have any questions that you want to ask me that's on the phone, then please do. And let me know. And let me know if there's anything. Let me know how you feel. How's everything that I've been saying? Is this like good stuff for you? Is it helping you? Is it resonating? Let's have some feedback and any questions that you might have. Has Angelina tried to phone you? No, I know of. Okay. Yeah, 100% Vaughnie. So in the comments, guys, if there's anything that you want to ask, anything... Okay, it's great. Thanks, JB. Good stuff, Carl. Are your t-shirts tight fitting? I'm a medium in the shoulders. So this is a medium. I guess it depends on the size you order and what your body is, Shawnee. Good stuff, Alistair. This is very helpful, all thought-provoking stuff. Really appreciate your time and helping us, mate. Anytime, Sam. Good man, Michael. Yeah, Robert, like, sort out that English. Good stuff, Nathan. How do you stop procrastinating? My biggest issue. I think the first thing is to ask yourself what you're procrastinating on and why. You know, there's obviously not an emotional connection to want to do whatever is there. So, like, things that I procrastinate on are just dead shit jobs that I don't want to do. Like fucking fixing the fence. It really doesn't fill me with fucking joy. But I wouldn't procrastinate on doing a 5-day challenge because I love it. It's my job. This is my career. I love it. There's no way I would do it. I wouldn't procrastinate on taking my daughter to nursery because I love dropping her off at nursery. You know, it's important to understand what you're procrastinating on. Usually things we procrastinate on are fucking things we don't want to do. But we miss the emotional connection as to why we've got to do it. So people procrastinate on fitness or eating well. Oh, just, you know, I'm going to get round to running. I'm going to get round to the gym. Like, how about if you don't get to the gym or you don't do that, you're going to put on 3 stone. It's going to make you much more unhappier. Your blood level is going to go through the roof. Your cholesterol is going to go through the roof. Start thinking about the consequences of not doing the action. And it helps you understand and put a little bit more perspective on why we should be showing up. You wouldn't be the first one, Andrew, at all, my man. One of the things you keep mentioning is consuming. You've given me a new perspective on balance to ensure that we don't consume is in turn. I may consume videos or games, but if I do much, then I'm being consumed by it. So thank you for giving me that. 100%. It's like social media, right? I think we all sometimes slip into that consumption where we've got the phone and we're scrolling through and it's got us. Because everything is a test, guys. Everything in life is a test. And depending on your conditioning, a lot of the stuff that I teach in my programs and my masterminds and the people I work with, I always say to them, this is just like a test. Everything that I teach you, like I'm teaching you this stuff this week and it's just an insight. This is not really a structured program. It's just an insight in five parts. Like the 28-day program, that's structured 16 modules and it makes you think and be able to handle life better. The guys who've been with me in the mastermind, they've been with me anywhere between 2 days and 4 years. So when I say to them, you're having a bad day, or they say they're having a bad day, I just turn around and say, it's a fucking test of everything that I'm teaching you. It's like coming out of the military, going to Afghan. That's a real test of your skill and training and mindset of everything you've worked for. So don't ever forget that, guys. Everything that's going on here, what we're talking about, this is building you up a little bit. You will have a little bit more experience than you would have had last week. You'll be a little bit more aware about yourself this week than you were last week. You'll feel a little bit more confident about moving forwards than you would have last week. So already you're more conditioned for the tests that are out there. The punches in the face, the curveballs, the negatives, the toxics. I call the toxics toxic people. I call them toxics. Good stuff, Lee. Glad you like that. Good. Get the mission right is everything. 100%. The mission is the foundation of that skyscraper. Always picture the skyscraper. If the mission is not strong enough, it all falls down. Any tips on getting the most out of journaling, please? Just really don't bullshit. Don't bullshit when you journal. Write down exactly what you are thinking, what you are going through. I had a really great day today. It was really good. I really did it. Just be honest. If you had a shit day, just fucking say it was a shit day. I didn't handle the situation well. I reacted too quickly. I acted on impulse. I should have acted better. Talk about your vulnerabilities. Had a cry today, come home. It was all just too much. Tomorrow's another day. I'm going to come back. Connect. Emotional connection. After tonight, I think the penny has finally dropped in finding my why in order to develop that discipline long term. Good, Craig. That's it. Now build on that. Nurture that. What you've talked about, nurture it. Thanks, Gareth. It's just something I find I needed. So when I come out of the military for 3 years, I needed someone just to be straight with me. Say, stop dicking around. Stop fucking around with your attitude and your principles and your character and who you think you're trying to be and how much you're fucking ignoring the truth. Go and face the truth, because the quicker you get it done, the quicker you can build your life. Good. Starting early morning exercises tomorrow. Clifton, before you start doing your early morning exercises, make sure you check out task 2. All right. There's going to be a nice test for everybody to build up. Andy, cheers, JB, getting back involved. From the year I can do this has made a huge difference. Good, Andy. It's great to see you again, brother. I came back on this as I was flagging after 6 months. Really need the boardmanness. I love that. Much appreciated. The plan is very helpful. Good stuff, Sean. Really glad it helps. My ex-wife put me through the grinder. My self-esteem took a huge blow, and I'm trying to rebuild that along with self-confidence, but keep hitting dead ends in the progress. Any quick tips? When you hit a dead end, get yourself back up and fucking go again. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again, until you're fucking dead. Because it doesn't stop, Phil, my man, until you are dead. And if you're going to let somebody else dictate how you live your life by their actions, then they've won. Okay? The way that you get through that is that you smash through the dead ends and you fucking go through them and you go out of your comfort zone to go through them. And you remember that you're going to do that, not to prove anyone wrong, not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that you are strong and confident and empower yourself. My man, let me see it. Paul, I appreciate all of the info and help offered here. Struggled with a few demons, which from time to time come up and overwhelm me. Then I reset and cycle starts again. Need the spark to focus on change and being a better me before too late. 100% Paul. And do this for you. On Wednesday, I don't want to give too much away, but on Wednesday I talk about how you are the most important person in this whole process. More important than your kids and your wife, okay? Because if you are not the best version of yourself, how can you be for everyone else around you? You are the asset. You are the elite operator in your life. And that's a term that we use a lot. A lot of the guys in the mastermind are working to showing up for a year and they get an elite operator t-shirt and hoodie. And that is like fucking gold. That means they've shown up like an elite operator. If you're an elite operator, if you imagine an elite operator being this elite soldier, you know, who's meticulous, who is driven, who is focused, who is highly driven and passionate to complete the mission. And that's you. That's what I'm building guys to be. This is the very, very, very start. This is not even boot camp. This is the prelims, if you like, to be able to do that, to start building the right mindset. All we're doing is shaking the apple tree and getting rid of all the bad, rotten apples. My girlfriend let me over a year ago, randomly after one night argument, which I can't even remember now. Something stupid. Sold the house, lost everything. I'm now doing my own thing, but she now wants to start seeing me again, and I don't know what to do. Will she just leave me again when we disagree on something and waste more years to be back in the same place? Dan, that's a tough call. I don't know whether it's for me to give you that advice, but I'm going to anyway. So I always believe that if you're going to do that, you act with caution. You are the priority. You have to make sure that you protect yourself. I think when it comes to relationships, you have to be absolutely clear and concise with her so that she understands where you stand. And I think before you make any commitments, there has to be proof in the pudding that the relationship works. Okay, I think that's first and foremost. And I'll leave it at that. Crabs, 100%. All good stuff. Any advice on enjoying exercise? As I find it a ball ache, but I know I need to do it. 100% Martin. So Martin, I'm not going to answer that question now because tomorrow, pretty much that question sums up what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to be talking about the importance of exercise and how to best enjoy it. All right, so I'm going to save that for tomorrow, if that's all right. I find I always need to please people to my detriment, get used a lot. 100% Cole, fuck those guys off. Identify those guys tonight, make a list of them, and make sure that you say no to them 3 or 4 times in a row. And start empowering yourself to start making the decision because it's you. And this is like me going, oh, come on guys, make sure you join up for the 5-day. Listen, if you want to join up for the 5-day and you want to be here and you want to do something, be here. If you don't, do what? Do you know what I mean? Don't allow other people to dictate your actions. Don't allow them to drain your energy. You focus on you first. And once you're done, you then start focusing on the people around you that are most valuable to you. Um, 100% Vorney. Good to see you here. Well done, Thomas. Guys are being open already. Missed the beginning, so going to disappear and come back when I actually allowed to rewind to start. No worries, David. Cool, guys. All right, great first night. Great to talk to some of you. So tomorrow, same again. Tomorrow's task will be up at 5. Make sure that you focus on yourself. Okay. Remember, in summary, 1% a day, every single day. I haven't got that t-shirt on. 1% a day, every single day. You don't allow yourself to not show up. Be honest and open about where you are, because unless you look in that mirror and you are honest about where you are, you will never move forwards. Number 3, remember the mission. The mission is the emotional connection between thought process, taking action, and taking action 3 to 4 to 5 years from now. It's not about these next few days, these next few weeks or months. It's about doing this for the rest of your life. This is not a quick fix fucking mentality. This is long term. When you're in, okay? And have the elite operator mindset here, okay? So that you can have consistency of action, control of time, energy and balance, and clarity of direction and identity. These things are key. All right, guys? Good to talk to you all. Have a great day tomorrow. Enjoy the sun. And if something happens tomorrow, overcome it. If something distracts you, elite operator mindset, smash through it. Show up, whatever happens. No excuses. Even if it's just for this week, zero tolerance, zero bullshit excuses, and be honest and open.